everyone. This is Waleed AlHamdan from CXSnaX. I am so happy to have a person with me who really, as they say, not just in the customer experience, that even in after sales, it's a guy that has the same love and passion for customer experience in automotive, which is a place that I have personally had a journey for about 6 years with one of the retail agents here in Saudi. And Percy is the founder of, I think so, consultant firm, which is the basically Evolve consulting firm. And they are he's basically in the after sales field that covers the areas. He just came from I think so, Bangkok. Am I correct? You just came from Bangkok?
Yes, with the Harley
He was
Davidson.
working, he was working with Harley. And again, we have the same passion. I love Harley. I was one of the owners of 2 bikes. And so we clicked immediately. He worked with Porsche. He worked with Mazda, Toyota, I think so. All the retail brands in the automotive, in the after sales. I love the quote that he has, which is basically, he says that customer journey, who sells the next car. So this is something I really appreciate and see powerfully in a person. So I would love that, Percy, that you could introduce yourself more and tell us amazing things about yourself.
Waleed, thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm so excited to have this session with you. I'm really passionate about the customer experience, specifically from an after-sales perspective. So my background is about 27 years in the automotive, as you state, across various brands. So I don't like to call myself an automotive expert or specialist anymore. We transitioning more in the mobility space, how to provide solutions for people to be mobile. And that field is quite interesting. Evolve is based here in the UAE. We do engagement strategies with clients. We help them connect their CX and UX journeys through process mapping and helping them understand the gaps within that process. And we also have a very high portfolio of people development and learning development for people in terms of helping them grow their organizations to have a very engaged workforce. So you can see that the focus for us, and for me specifically, is to connect people to the customer and that experience. And that's very, very important to us as Evolve. And that's what the name says. Keep helping people to evolve in terms of growing and connecting with customers.
100%. And what also that you have highlighted that if you have that connection with the people, that the sales and the revenue, if anybody is looking for ROI, continues. So basically you will continue in that field. So just for me, to really share with you that I'm talking about the Saudi market. I'm not familiar with honestly what's happening around the world, just only from a reading. But we're not happy here in Saudi, honestly, with let's say 90% or 80% of the providers in the market. If we talk about the premium cars, who cost more, let's say more than 600,000 riyals, we are not happy. Of all the vendors, they are great in the sales. They show you that the life is beautiful. It's amazing that we are there. But when the truth comes that you face a problem, even it was a simple problem, no one really supports, unfortunately. I know people, I know friends who bought their cars from neighbor countries to us. They do the maintenance there. They never do it here.
Yeah.
They bought these cars for 1 million, 1.5 million, and they go by either a car or by any other transportation, taking their car for maintenance and coming back to here, back to Saudi. Yeah. And this is a big issue for me, honestly, from a customer experience. Let's start it from the beginning, from customer service, not just customer experience. Yeah. So what do you know? What you have worked, I think so, in that field, and you know what's the problem? What's the issue here?
Waleed, I think that's an excellent question. I think each market is uniquely different. And I've experienced itself working for brands here where a lot of the GCC nationals actually come and service in the UAE because of the discrepancy in the customer experience journey. And I think the problem starts with the first interaction with the customer. So if we look at that and we ask dealerships and we ask everyone, where was the first contact point with your customer? Generally, they're not able to answer that question because, there's the profile of the omni-channel. And as we grow in technological advancement, it becomes more complex for dealers to cope in terms of where the source of the customer or the first interaction point comes from. I'll use the perfect example. I made a post on LinkedIn that I was interested in a vehicle the other day. This is 3 weeks ago. I still haven't had a response from any single manufacturer to tell me we would come out to you and demonstrate our vehicles or even make contact. So I think the first point or the biggest problem in the CX journey is to identify where does the customer connect from, whether that's your website, whether they show interest on your Instagram channel or whatever social media feeds you have going out there. And I think that's a great missed opportunity for dealerships and distributors in the countries to be able to say, how do we connect with our customers? What is their preferred method of connecting with us in terms of starting that initial journey? So I hope that gives you a bit of a round view. And everyone that I consult with does not have this recipe right. There seems to be something missing in being able to understand the customer and at the same time profile the customer so we can turn them from a lead into a hot lead and then eventually start building a long-term with that client.
True. Honestly, I have an example. I have lived around the world. I have lived in the US. I have lived in multiple countries, not just for a vacation. No, I had an opportunity that because my kids were studying abroad, so I lived around the world for a period of long times, and I did living over there. It means that you need, especially in the US, you need to purchase a car. It's not like Europe or the metro can really help you. The person is treated. It's not about that. How that the experience that you get from just the sales. It's even from the day that they do a billboard. You could see
Correct.
it. That
100%.
a campaign is done. So the journey is very clear. This is what you have wrote in one of their contents, that the journey needs to really highlight each pinpoint and where is the wow factors and
Correct.
where do you really hit that area. You're talking to a human, not less than $20,000, an example. It's not easy, or he or she will take a loan. It's not easy for them to do that. Like purchasing a house, like purchasing this car will continue with him, or this purchase will continue. This relationship will continue with you not less than 4 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's a relationship not easy. It's not like going and eating in a restaurant and leaving for a half an hour or an hour. No, it's a relationship bigger than that.
Yeah.
But honestly, we have only 3 maximum who are really working in that field, that you could see that they are leading the market by only doing a good customer experience or doing a good customer service. The remaining are, unfortunately, very far from that. Why in after sales? Let's say sales is something that usually, how can an automotive provider, even if it was just a maintenance manufacturer here in Saudi, or a part seller, or any of these, an example, we have e-commerce now who are working that only to fix the issues that for a simple one, a wheel problem, you need water in the car, you need something simple, battery, all of these. You know that they are even excelling more than any other provider in the market, because they understand from a customer experience in the e-commerce field that it's really important that this moment that I have served this customer to continue with. How can the after sales make a difference now? I have pardon me for just adding. I don't know if you is one of the amazing providers in the market. So how can an after sales make a difference to any customer?
I think the whole story, Waleed, is profiling customers and knowing who your customers are. Number one. What are their preferences? How do they like to be contacted? How do they like to be interacted with? Some of them are people like me that is a fast-paced individual that says, here's my car, I want to go for servicing. Phone me or text me or WhatsApp me during the day to keep me informed of my experiences. And I want to say this, and I really want to make a strong statement. We treat after sales as after sales. However, it's actually a fantastic sales function. And let me use an example. A service advisor or a person that services a car in the journey or the relationship with the customer will see that customer 16 to 18 times in the life cycle of that vehicle. Where in sales, you see that customer 1 or 2 times to be able to transact the vehicle. So why after sales can become a great support is continuously creating interaction points to keep the customer informed about the service needs, promotions, experiences, even the birthday of the vehicle or upgrades on vehicles. Could be a really good platform to connect back to our existing customer profile to be able to create a great experience for customers. The second part of that is, how do I treat customers when they arrive? Now, here's something that I want to ask. Who's the first person that interacts with a customer when they arrive at the dealership for service needs?
The security guard.
100%.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said that, Waleed, because is my security person, which is most probably a third-party vendor, trained well enough to be able to even greet the customer by name? Does he have the information to create that wow experience for a customer? And this is where the disconnect comes. And secondly, I drive in, where do I park? Where do I go? What is the direction? Is there someone to guide me? Is there someone waiting for me on the first service of my experience to say, how is your vehicle going? Are you enjoying this vehicle? Do you understand all the features of the vehicle? And this is generally something that happens, is this disconnect between sales and after sales. If a car is 3 years old and you're launching a new Chang'an as an example, as a new upgrade on a model, is there a sales executive standing there to say, sir, we noticed that you're bringing in your vehicle for a service. We noticed it's 3 years old. Can we take you quickly for a test drive in a new vehicle, or even pre-arrange that while making the appointment? There's a lot of things that we can do to be so proactive to make the customer's experience wonderful. A perfect example of this is, if I may share, I bought 3 minis in a row here in the UAE, and I'll use the example why. Every 18 months, there was an upgrade on the vehicle. When I go for my service, they make notes of me as an individual, of what my preferences are, even whether I like a latte or orange juice. So while I'm waiting for service, even before I sit in the seat in the customer lounge, it's already ready with a hot towel and with a mini logo on it. So in 18 months, they phoned me and they said, Percy, we have a new model that has got so much more horsepower. Are you interested in this vehicle? Then the key is, can we bring the vehicle to you for a test drive? And I think this whole thing about sales and after sales synergy, if we look at the model of how dealerships are set up, Waleed, they don't even sit together. So how can they collaborate? How can we have a uniform customer view or interaction point for customers if we can't collaborate and say, listen, this person is interested in a service plan. This person is interested in a new model. And I think this is generally where I feel that the whole dealership process hasn't been adequately mapped to identify all the important customer touch points. No one does that. And I think that is something that dealership desperately need to do. And then decide, okay, this is the customer journey. Now, what experiences are we going to create? Now, where these second tier and third tier service centers are above us is because they work extraordinarily hard to be able to satisfy the customer. Many of the volume dealers have become order takers. So they just accept that customers walk through the door. Then it becomes transactional. And that is the problem with the customer experience.
100% I agree. True. And now you have highlighted to know your customer, because if I take the example of what you have shared with me, that you have 3 times in a row that you have bought the same brand because you were satisfied or happy with the relationship of the vendor or the distributor in the market. And they knew how to treat you. They knew what exactly your needs. So I think so there are 2 things. One is that they had the customer experience strategy and all of that in place with training. Now there is something else that I think 100% know that I'm going to hit you with this question. How does technology play in this role?
Yeah,
in helping, because يعني, I know that there are now, we are moving from CRM to CRX, which is customer relationship experience. We are
correct.
moving to journey mapping, which is automotive. We are moving to AI. We are moving to Gen chatbot. We are moving to amazing track of excelling. And believe me, I just want you to try to go and just visit one of, unfortunately to say it, here in the country, one of the vendors, and check their website. Wow,
Yeah,
they take you to the original, let's say, if it was a US brand, it will go to the US website. If it was a Japanese brand, it will go to Japan. But they don't even have the effort to work from here. They don't
correct.
care. So how does technology play a role here?
I think that's a really important question. I think if we look at most automotive manufacturers, they're moving to a high connectivity platform for vehicles, which means that the vehicle informs and keeps the customers alert in terms of what the service requirements are, and feeds this information right back to the dealer or the manufacturer. And there's certain regulations globally which allows and doesn't allow that. But most automotive manufacturers are moving. I want to explain the experience as a simple experience. Here, instance, if you look at Uber or you look at Karim in Saudi, how do they keep the customer informed? They use an application where you connect the vehicle, you connect the car, you connect the person, and you connect it to the profiling of that customer. So there's preferential treatment in terms of how I can maybe deal with that customer or what the customer's preferences are. And I think the automotive industry hasn't got that right yet. They haven't learned from other good service providers in terms of really how you can connect with the client. However, a high investment is into the connectivity of the vehicle, but the translation or the outcome of what comes out of the vehicle information or what the customer fits in is not really connected right through the complete value chain of that customer's experience. Imagine having an app sitting in the dealership and saying, I want to order a coffee. And here comes your coffee. Or artificial intelligence that looking at the journey of the vehicle or the maintenance experience of the vehicle, and then forecast what a service package should look like based on the customer's driving habits. That could be very interesting. So that is missing at this stage. And I think a lot of automotive manufacturers need to transition in that live feedback platform to be able to cope with shaping the customer journey and enhancing the customer journey that suits each customer as a customer and makes that a very personal experience. I hope I answered you.
Perfect. Now I'm going to go to something which is I can see in the market now here in Saudi. I don't know, again, about our neighbors. I'm not familiar with that, but for sure you know, and you could compare in that from your perspective. Now, the used cars, leave the new cars, the used cars, they are a hot, as they say, subject here in Saudi.
Yeah, I know.
It's so, okay, there are the failure stories and there are the good stories. But amazingly, the good stories are from a very good platform in UAE. People already purchased their cars, and it comes from UAE to here to Riyadh without any hassle.
Yes.
And there is another one, which is also a used car platform here in Saudi. And there is the regular that you go to a store and choose the used car.
Yeah.
I think so. This is a field from a customer experience untouched totally, because if a person, I saw there is, I'm sure that you're aware of there is one amazing company in the US. They even give you 10 days to use this car, and if you're not happy, you will return it.
Yeah.
I don't think so this will ever happen here, and they will tell you use it and come back. But this platform, which is in Saudi now, is implementing that.
Yes.
They have that concept. So, okay, how can this market of used cars make it different? Because I'm sure that, okay, I would like to buy a good brand, but it's used for, let's say, 1 year with a good, from a good person. And I don't want to pay, let's say, the full amount of 200. I could pay 100.
Yeah.
But I want to be sure that I'm treated perfectly, because now I will have a relationship with an agent that I don't think so he's happy because I didn't buy it from him. I will have a good relation with well, I have a relationship with the provider who sold me, and then he's not there after that, unfortunately, because it's a used car. He will sell it to you, and he will tell you, go to the vendor.
Yeah.
So, as I say, I don't know where to go after that.
Waleed, I want to start the conversation by saying like that. Let's not say let's isolate used cars.
Yeah.
It's the way that you sell the car that's going to make a huge difference, because the opportunity and the complexity for a dealer to transition or purchase a used car and still make profit out of it is a complex situation. And that's where many dealers struggle, because I need to have a vehicle that is used that I can have optimal profit for, that I can sell and still make money, all right, and then provide a very good value vehicle. So one of the things that I want to mention is, how many people actually want to own a car these days? That's the question. There are leasing options. A leasing option is a great platform for a dealership to create a used car program within itself, because the car is fully maintained, the car is constantly checked, it's low kilometers, and it's got better resale value. There must be multiple options to be able to connect customers to a trading option, or we have found 3 people for you to buy your vehicle. One of the programs that we had that used to work very well, when we realized that a car is 3 years old, we know already that there's someone in the market for a used vehicle. So we can already have a conversation with the person that's ready to buy a new vehicle to sell his vehicle to someone else at the same stage, because someone is looking for that vehicle. However, it's a complex market, it's a difficult market, and it's a unique market. So the reality with used cars is, as customers, we want to get the best value for our money when we sell our car. And the challenge is, can the dealer offer that margin flexibility to be able to adopt a used car program? Here in the UAE, we've got many platforms that sell used cars or buy cars, and they either keep them in the market or they export them in the market. And I think that's a great opportunity for Saudi. It's a bit more complex for me to answer what that would look in the Saudi market because of your local regulations and laws and insurance policies, what that looks like. So I think what I want to say about used cars is to be able for a dealer to have an in-dealer used car program out of a leasing program that leads to either demo or whatever, just as the initial starting point to see the receptiveness of the market in terms of used cars. And that's what I want to say.
True. One last question, and I'm sorry to take a lot of your time.
Not at all.
As they say, a subject that electric cars.
Oh,
Electric cars. It's not here and not yet in Saudi as a big trend, but people would like to purchase it.
Correct.
But unfortunately, there are not let's say Tesla. Lucid is there, Tesla, but not yet available.
Correct.
People are ready to have it. Now, with the technology, I'm saying with the technology in the digital, in the electric cars, because it's 100%, I feel it's like I'm driving a game. I'm not driving a machine. And especially if a person like me who really has love to Harley, so the voice and the power of the machine makes a difference to me. So in the electric cars, will as they say, the transformation that's happening in the car itself from digital experience, like that will not happen yet in the regular car. I know there are automotives that are exceeding, like BM, Mercedes, all of these. They have a lot of digital transformation that makes you say, wow. Yani just moving your hand, you could increase the volume and below.
Yeah.
Will the electric car, honestly, I know they are not eating a lot now, especially they are dropping down with a lot of dealers around the world are not even trying to invest. Even yesterday, Apple stopped the investment on their electric car and they said, no, I'm not going to continue. I'm going to continue in AI. So it will be for sure limited to some brands or hybrid brands. So will that make a difference, especially from the experience that you're grabbing from data as a dealer and how you can treat your customer?
Yeah, it's a controversial topic. I'm going to be brutally honest. I'll start by saying that we can talk about the EV process and the product, and I'm quite willing to talk about it, but I love using the Toyota model. I think Toyota's got it right. We are not sure what is going to power vehicles in the next 10 years. what will be the drivetrain? The problem that we're experiencing is, and why people don't know what to buy, is because they're not sure, is there infrastructure for EV? How far, what is the mileage on that vehicle? How far can I drive? If I'm stuck in traffic, is there infrastructure for me to quickly charge my weapon? The second thing about EV vehicles and most manufacturers is the resale value on it. That's becoming an experience that says, okay, do I compare it to an iPad? And this is no discredit to any brand, but it's exactly like you said, it's about an experience, more a digital experience than anything else. What I then want to say is that's the conundrum number one. So then let's isolate EV as an experience. Let's assume that EV penetration gets higher in Saudi and in the GCC market. These vehicles will be highly connected. They can even be programmed from anywhere in the world. It's like a software update. What this does, it puts the dealers under pressure in terms of what can I provide as a service to that customer, because the service requirements are far less, except for technical diagnosis and stuff that the vehicle has to go through. The problem with that is we see the customer less and less. And that's a problem where we have to find solutions to be able to connect more effectively with our customers so that we can have a repurchase program or we can have built a relationship with our client. The Chinese is leading specifically on the technological forefront of features in the vehicle. One of the vehicles that you spoke about, you say, open the sunroof, and it opens just by voice command. And the question is, how far do we push the agenda before clients or customers feel that the vehicle is no longer a vehicle? And what does that look like? And I'm hopping around this topic because I think the user experience will be great, because naturally technology will push information right to our dealerships and we're able to shape the experience with the customer. But the conundrum is, what's going to be the drivetrain in the next 10 years? Which vehicle should I invest in? And what does that transition period look like? It's more a difficult customer experience for the customer to make that decision.
Perfect. I have to ask you this question because I promised you it was my last, but you're grabbing me more. So as I'm a lover of Harley Davidson,
Yes.
what's the secret? Why when you own a Harley or you want to own a Harley, all the experience in that? I owned a Honda bike. I owned a Harley. I'm not a biker, but I like, to have a bike, to have that trip, that amazing. But Harley Davidson give me an experience from A to Z till now. I don't own a Harley until now because my wife told me either the bike or me. So I was in a position that either I divorce her or continue with my bike. So I had to sell my bike. So I would love to own again because this passion that they love left with me. So what's the secret? You just came from them. And I'm sure you did the consultation with them. So what's the secret?
I want to do due respect to the Harley brand because it's an awesome brand. It really is. And the drivers that drive it is quite a unique community. So it starts with a love for the motorcycle at first, the look, the aesthetics of the motorcycle. I also think it's a motorcycle that's transforming slowly, but still modern in certain aspects. I'm going to say it, and it's the way you sit on a motorcycle that makes the difference. Because if you sit on a Honda, how do you sit? You sit like this, or you sit like this. Yes. But Harley is feet forward, and it gives you that presence. And I think people kind of love that freedom in terms of the way that the motorcycle sounds, the feeling that it gives you in terms of the presence that you have on the road. Everyone recognizes the brand because there's such a large community. And also just the Harley people are an awesome bunch of people because they're so unique and dynamic. And I think that's really the secret behind Harley. And must say, the way they look after their customer is actually quite profound. They really interact, they really connect, they really have a lot of events with their customers to be able to indoctrinate them or experience the brand in itself. And I think that's what makes the Harley brand such a successful brand globally.
Perfect. Percy, this will not be the last. I hope that you give me again a second opportunity. So
of course,
to really, it will be a pleasure to have you on again. Thank you very much for the time, for the opportunity. Any last words from your side I would like to say?
Yeah, Waleed, I just want to say is know your customer, be able to track your customers' behavior. Then you can create great experience for them and keep in touch. Make sure that you keep in touch in the way that they want to be kept in touch with, and not assume that this is the way that a customer wants to connect with you. And ask your customers, how did we do today? Are we on the track? What did you enjoy about our experience? And I think that's important, connecting with your customers at that level.
100%. Thank you. Thank you again, Percy. Thank you very much. Thank you, audience. I hope you had fun as me. Feel free to connect with Percy personally. He's a person that, as he was so kind to me and give me the time, I'm sure he will be more than happy to support in that field. And again, this was Waleed AlHamdan from CXSnaX. Goodbye, everyone.